All right, everyone. Just getting our Zoom kicked off. Making sure we're streaming good. Want to thank you all for joining us today. We will be kickstarting here maybe in like next minute or so. Hope you guys are all having a great Monday wherever you are watching around the world. Because we are worldwide. Miracle 139 International. So today we have Kari Anderson. She's gone on a trip with Miracle 139 International to Paraguay. And she's got boatloads of knowledge coming at you. Today she's going to be talking about student engagement and how much we really need this, especially in this time of like online learning. So we're just so thankful to have her. So we will get started next 30 seconds. Give some people time to hop on. Hope you guys all love my sweet background. We're sponsored by Miracle 139 International. All right. Okay, looks like we're good to go. So I just wanted to say again, thank you all for joining us today. Again, we have Kari Anderson here with us today, and she's going to be talking on student engagement. So thank you, Kari, for joining us, and you can take it away.
Great. Thank you, Adam. Hello, everyone. I am Kari, and I'm so excited to talk to you about student engagement. I'm going to go ahead and present my screen and get started in here in just a few minutes. Just wanted to introduce myself. I am been a teacher for about 5 years, and I specialize in special education. So I have my master's in teaching, and I absolutely love it. And my favorite thing is behavior and student engagement. So that's why I'm going to be working on that today. I think we're going to wait a couple minutes to make sure people kind of pop on, or did you want me to just go ahead and get started? Good to go. Okay. So let's talk about student engagement. So during distance learning, it's super important. I've been asked by a couple people, like, how do you do it? How do you engage your students when you're teaching virtually? How do you engage your students at home if you're a parent? How do you engage your students just overall, even in the classroom? There's some, like my school is hybrid learning, so some are online and some are in the classroom. So it's just a lot different right now. And so I wanted to talk to you briefly about student engagement, and then want to hear from you about where you might want to hear more information. I'm going to do it very broad and then really want to dive in a little deeper in some other videos coming up. So I'm really excited. So the main thing when I think about how to engage students is it's called the 3 C's, and it's about connecting, connection, competence, and control. So those are the 3 things that most of my slides will kind of fall under. But connection is really getting to know your students, making sure that you're connected to them, or if you're a parent, connecting to their interests. Competence is how confident are you in what you're teaching. So especially in this day and age with the distance learning, we have to kind of fake our confidence, and we can't be going, oh, is this on? Or where's the volume button? Or how do I present it? And we really have to just show that we are the teachers, that we know what we're doing and what we're teaching, so that the students then have confidence and believe in us. And then the third one, that will go over more rules and expectations. So having control of your classroom. And that's harder to do virtually. And it's also hard probably to do at home with your students, but making sure that you have those rules and expectations set up in advance, so that way you have control of your classroom. So those are the 3 C's. Most of everything I'm going to talk about falls under all of these. And it's just something really important when you're looking at your classroom overall, if you're at home. So if you're feeling a little disconnect, it's usually one of these 3 areas. So the first one is connection. And this is my favorite because I deal a lot with behaviors and making sure students engage. The first thing I always do is make sure I have a good rapport with my students and make sure I get to know each and every one of my students individually. That involves, for me, I do a lot of fun activities that include what my students like. usually the first few weeks, just getting to know them instead of doing content day one, So it's okay to do non-teaching activities. It's okay to get to know your students, to do things that are fun. And you can teach without it being, without the students thinking that it's teaching. So for example, I do hangman with the kids spelling words every week, and I put the little lines up and they're trying to guess the letters, and they're really guessing how to spell their spelling words. So it's fun and engaging, but it's not me always teaching. So there's ways, and I'll talk about in another slide, of how to make it fun and more current. And then talk to your students about their weekend when, Zoom is coming on and all your kids are starting to log on. Ask them what they did over the weekend, or to share something that might interest them. Or on Fridays, I let my kids, bring a stuffed animal, and they just get to show it and have it in their arms. So you can make it a little bit more fun and engaging. And I always tell myself too, to feelings over actions. If kids are having a bad day, or you notice that maybe not a lot of kids are engaged, stop teaching for a second. It's okay not to teach. I say that all the time. If a kid's having a meltdown in the classroom or at home, you can turn your screen off and deal with it, or if you're distance teaching and a couple of your students are all chatting about something that happened over the weekend, or maybe right after the election, maybe just say, okay, let's all talk about what you're feeling about it. Go off screen, write about your feelings. We'll all come on and discuss it. So you can engage and get to know your students in different ways. That isn't all about teaching. And then the next thing is making your classroom motivating. So this can be at home. If you have your kids at home, and you're trying to motivate them to work, what are their goals? Why are they doing it? Why are they excited to learn every day? I always make sure that kids are motivated. Why are they coming on every day? Are they going to get a prize? Are they going to get a reward? What is the reason? What is the purpose? So I'm always trying to make it a motivating factor for them to want to learn. And then I really do try to teach responsibility and caring in my class. So that's if it's in the classroom or online, that each student, you want to make sure you show that each student, you care about them. They all have their individual needs, and you want to make sure you respect them. If a student needs extra time, or maybe just needs more one-on-one time, so you make sure that you give them what they need. So then that mutual respect and rapport is developed, and then that way you're incorporating exactly what that student needs. I have a student who doesn't like to do anything that's writing when he's on with the small group of 4 kids. So at the end of the lesson, he stays on with me and does his writing one-on-one. So I do a little extra for him, which shows how much I care. And then in return, he gives me that engagement and works with me. So it's kind of that give and take that you get and gain with the students. And then keeping your content current. So I'm always trying to have exciting topics to talk about, exciting things to read about. It doesn't have to be, it can be if what all your students love, space, then maybe that can be what you read about or what you do an activity about. So just really try to incorporate kids' interests and think about different ways to teach and think outside the box, which can sometimes be hard, but ask around. Or we have so many colleagues and people that I think we all live in our own little box and bubble instead of asking, oh, what do you think? Or how could I teach this differently? And we have a lot of resources around us at school. And then I posted this, one of my favorite pictures, that a flower, when a flower doesn't bloom, you fix the environment in which it grows, not the flower. So if the kids aren't learning, then you have to kind of change your content, change your box, change your bubble, change how you're doing it, not change your students. So not get mad at, oh, why didn't they do these writing assignments? Why didn't they do this? Then think of inside and think about, how could I make that more engaging? How can I make it more fun for the students? So, and then as teachers and parents, we're all stressed. And it shows when you're having a stressful day and you're trying to teach in person, online, or if you're trying to get your kid logged into Zoom. If you're stressed and you're yelling and you're like, get onto Zoom, hurry, get your things, you're not online all the time, on time. Or if I'm not logging on as a teacher and presenting myself calmly, it's gonna be how I teach and how the students, that's how they're starting their day. So slow down, stay calm, and then make sure you're dealing with your stress outside of work. So take a breath, go outside, relax, do the things to make you the best version of yourself as a parent or as a teacher. So that way, when stress does come up in class, you can deal with it. So what I do is if I have something like I can't find something that I need, instead of me being really frazzled, I'll walk through and verbalize how I solve the problem. Oh, I can't find my pen. Let me just find a different pen and I'll talk through my problem instead of outwardly verbalizing maybe my angers or frustrations. So kids do what is modeled. So you have to model being calm and model taking it slow. And as a parent, if in the morning you're like, okay, you have about 5 minutes till your Zoom. Do you have everything? Are you ready? Let's do a high five. Let's do a chant. Let's get excited for your meeting. It's math time instead of, you know, reacting, or if you're having a bad morning, just really make sure that kid's environment is ready to go for their learning. And then I always acknowledge every behavior and I don't ignore it. So if you're teaching and you're stressed and a kid is having a meltdown on the screen or in the classroom or maybe at home, acknowledge it and say, okay, maybe go off screen for a little bit, take a little break, come back in a few minutes. But ignoring behaviors and letting them just happen adds to the stress. And I could go into that part for a very long time, but just make sure you acknowledge it in any way. Oh, I see you're frustrated. Do you want to go off screen for a few minutes? I've had a couple kids, I'll set a timer, just go off screen for a little bit, collect yourself and come back on when you're ready to learn. And it's really great to acknowledge that. And know and express yourself clearly. So I just, when I'm teaching or as a parent, make sure that everything you're telling your student, you're doing it boldly and with confidence. If you're a little wishy-washy in the way you teach or the way you have expectations, I have students who are sitting on a couch or they're in bed still or they're at a desk. So if you're the parent and you are saying, oh, nope, you need to sit up and be ready to learn, you need to make sure you're bold and confident in how you're setting those rules and expectations, which is my next slide. And just really express yourself clearly what you want. Don't go back and forth like, oh, okay, today you can do this, but maybe tomorrow try to do this, because then they're getting confused on what are the rules and expectations. So just know yourself, know it yourself. I always say too, when you're setting up your rules for your classroom, if it's or your home, you want to make sure that you I always just write down everything you want and expect, because how do the kids know if you don't know and you don't teach it? So I make sure that I want my students when I'm distance teaching to come on time, their screen on, and their supplies in hand. So I've taught that and I reteach it every single Monday. And so my kids literally come on the screen like this. They have their packet and they come on, and that's how I know they're ready to learn. Because what was happening is they'd had their stuff in front of them or they don't, and I have no idea. And they come on, and then 5 minutes later, I'm asking them, okay, well, go to your page and write something. And they're looking for their packet and they're gone for 5 minutes. So that's my expectation is you come ready to learn. And then the parents know it. It's emailed to the parents, it's emailed to the students, what's exactly expected. You come ready to learn, and the kids are all excited. They're showing it. They're standing there ready. They're sitting there ready. And then they're telling each other, go get your packet. So it's setting those clear expectations. So everyone is on the same page and they know what's expected. And then, like I said, repeat and teach the rules. So I'm teaching it every Monday. I'm reteaching what's expected and reminding them, and, oh, great job doing what I asked. And, you want to make sure that you have those clear, concise expectations so that they know exactly what you do and don't want them to do. So if they're doing something you don't want them to do, you just remind them of your rule and what you do want them to do. And at home, that's especially important right now because a lot of kids are doing it on their own and they don't have a lot of rules. So you want to make sure as the teacher and the parent, they're the same and you're working together to make sure that that student has the best access. And that kind of goes along with if you have all these clear and concise rules, you want to make sure you have consequences. So you don't want to be wishy-washy with how you have consequences. You want to always follow through. So if you're a parent and you say, if you're not sitting at that desk by 9 a.m. for your Zoom, you don't get TV, well, then you need to make sure you follow through with that consequence. Or if you have a sticker chart at home, or if you have anything that you have, you want to make sure you're incorporating it and following through. And the same thing with at home. Or at school, I make sure that if I have a specific consequence that my students need to be logged on in the first 5 minutes, or else they're getting a parent call or email home, then I follow through every single time. And so, and with good consequences, good and bad. So with rewards, it's the same thing. If a kid logs on perfectly all week and they get that reward sent home to them, I want to make sure I follow through with that too. So you want to make sure you're always following through so that the students trust you, and you teach the consequences so they know exactly. I put this is the perfect message. My video, my visual shows that, is that you want to make sure you teach it, say it really clear and concise. So mine is, it's not, oh, if you're 1 minute late, you get this. And if you're 3 minutes late, you get this. And if you don't have your video turned on, it's this. Nope, it's really clear and concise. It's, you have your video screen on, your materials ready, and you're muted and ready to go. Whatever the rules are, but they're super clear, they're concise, and there's not any room for wiggle room. And so I think that's the same thing that you want to do as a parent at home and as a teacher in the classroom. And so with that being said, I know that we're live, so questions are kind of hard, but if you have any questions, you can comment below, and we'll be happy to answer any of them. And then I wanted to just ask, based on my first slide, which I can put up there if it's easier, if I can go backwards to it, if you would want to know more, if I'm going to do a follow-up video soon, which I would be really excited to do, and hope you would want to hear maybe more about one of these, if they're one of these areas are harder for you. So I know classroom rules and expectations is hard, the control kind of piece, but connecting with students, if you want to learn more about competence or you want to learn more about control. So between those three, if you want to just even comment connection, competence, or control down below, and let me know, and then I will do some follow-up pieces. Or if there was any specific slide that I talked about that you want to know more about, if it's, you know, how to keep it current or how to motivate students, I can break down any of those and probably talk for another 20 minutes about any of those subjects. And then especially with engagement and behavior. But I just wanted to do a bit overall how to engage your students at home and at school. And I wanted to share with everyone just kind of some things I've learned, and hopefully you got something out of it today. And I thank you so much. I'll stop sharing. So, but I thank everyone for coming on and listening to me today. And I enjoyed sharing how to engage students.
Kari, thank you so much. That was amazing. And yes, again, anybody, if you have any questions for Kari, you can just put it, comment on the Facebook link. And also, if you want to hear more about competence, connection, or control, I mean, those 3 C's are so good. So thank you so much for sharing them with us, Kari. And we just thank you all for tuning in today, and keep an eye out for more videos to come. And we will be having another Facebook Live next month as well. So we just thank you all for joining us, and have a wonderful rest of your Monday.